Okay, this is just a test of the new retract servo controller here. It's just a little tiny circuit board here with a 12F629 pick, I believe. 4 resistors, a capacitor, LED, and a switch. That little switch right there is what's used to actually program this guy. So I'll show a quick little demo of this. I'm gonna turn the transmitter on first. Alright, and then in order to program the servo, what you're able to program are not just the right and left end limits, but you could also control the speed at which the servo goes from one limit to the other. Such as like if you're going to set it up to control a retract, and the retract only needs a certain amount of throw in a certain direction, what you basically do is you would hook this thing up. Originally you would hook the circuit up to a channel that you could vary. So right now what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the throttle channel here. This stick here, just pan out a little just so you can see it. Oh, pan it all the way. Alright, so this throttle stick is what I'm going to be using to program everything here. Try to get it in view here so you can see it. Alright, so this would be the channel. I got it plugged into channel 3 here. And in order to program this little guy, first thing you do is when you power it up, you hold in the button. I'm going to power everything up here. And you'll see LED comes on solid. That means it's in programming mode. And you'll see if when I move the stick, the servo moves accordingly. So what you would do is you would set one position. So say instead of being here, say it's like here. That's the position like to deploy your gear completely. If it went too much like that, you'd probably bind something, which is usually the problem that you have when you try using even a standard servo like this, or even a retract servo, which is just geared with set end limits. Sometimes the throw is just too much. So what this allows you to do is you'll say this is the full throw of the servo. Say you only needed this amount of throw. It'll allow you to program that. So you set it, it's not that, set it there, and what you do to set that position, you just tap the button, or you could hold it in, you'll see the LED go out, and when you let go, the LED comes back on. And then now you set your other position. So say instead of this, say you wanted something like that. Then you press it again, you let go, and then what the circuit does is it'll basically bring the servo from one inlet to the other using the speed, and the speed depends on where you have your stick. So if you bring your stick all the way up, that's the fastest it goes, and if you bring your stick all the way down, you can see it's very slow, but still sort of smooth. So say this is the fastest. Say we don't want it that fast. Say we want it to go something like that. Alright, and once you have the speed set, and if you had this hooked up to your servo, you'd be able to see it kind of going up and down, making sure that you don't bind in either direction. Then if you're happy with that, you hold in a button, you wait for the servo to stop, and there you go. It blinks twice. And then now, what you would do is you would normally connect that up to your gear switch here, which is on here is channel 5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to repower this thing just by plugging it into channel 5 here. Okay, so now I'm plugged into channel 5. You can see the servo goes in one direction, and then this is my little switch here for my gear. If I flip the switch, flip it the other way, so it goes from one limit to the other at that preset speed. Now just for the hell of it, say you wanted to change this, I'm going to go back to channel 3 here while holding in the button. Right, here we are again. I'm going to make it go from all the way from one limit all the way to the other. Tap again. There it is, and I'm going to have it go to fastest, which is set for right now. So I just hold in a button, wait for the cycle and stop, let go, flashes twice, and you can see if I plug this back into the gear channel here, you'll see that it will work with the switch. Now that's probably normally too fast for a retract, but still, just to show you how far it can go. And every time you power this thing up, it saves those settings. So every time you power this up, it uses those end limits, and also the pre-programmed speed that it goes from one limit to the other. So So what I'm going to do is I want to actually use this on my tail wheel of my Zero, which is controlled using not a big servo like this, but a standard mini servo, and it works pretty good. And that's it. Pretty slick, I think.